Welcome to Hold My Matcha. We're a podcast where we're basically just going to talk about us being baby adults and young artists. We are from Texas, but we do not like beer, hence Hold My Matcha and not Hold My Beer. Would you like to introduce yourself first?
I'm Trinity. What else were we saying about ourselves here?
I mean, we're both the same age. So.
Yeah, I'm Trinity. I'm 23.
Me as well.
Who are you?
Who am I?
Yes.
Oh. My name is Maggie Rose. I am also 23. And this is our cute little podcast. We have matcha here. We are drinking that for people who are only listening. We're going to try and make matcha most times, but for just for this first one, we got some Starbucks matcha with some vanilla in it. So really, it's just like drinking sugar instead of grass.
Exactly.
But it works. And it works for the aesthetic of the cover of the podcast, too. So we'll go with that. But we have known each other since high school. We went to cute little private school here. And then we both went to the same university, but not together. At least not for a very long time.
I mean, technically, you went with me, but I didn't go with you at first. I guess you'd say. I graduated a year before. So I graduated in 2020. I'm a COVID grad. And I did my first year of school online. We went to Grand Canyon University, and I did a program where they let you do your first year all online, and then you move on to campus for your second, third, and fourth years. So I did my first year online and essentially waited for you to come with me.
Yay.
So we moved into a triple dorm together, and I lasted a semester. Arizona was not my thing, and Rose stayed for the rest of her college career, so...
My 3 years. So I shaved off a year of college, and so now we graduated at the same time, so I'm now graduated with my average age, but, I was not COVID high school grad, I was the year after, so a little bit better.
You're on track.
I think we actually, because we were one of the few schools that were having in-person school afterwards, we had like a bunch of kids from some New Mexico high schools come over to just join our school for senior year, just so that they could literally have an in-person senior year, which is wild to think about.
Everything was shut down for a while, so, you have to find options.
I'm low-key glad that COVID was during high school, because I would have hated that during college. That would have been such a pain. Right. I mean, you were online, so it wouldn't have been that bad.
I mean, I think it would have been worse if I had been, like, if I had moved and I had lived on a campus for a semester and then had to transition and be online. That would have been a lot. And we know a lot of people who had to deal with that. So I think I preferred starting it that way. And then I only did a single semester of college in person. The rest of it was online. So I guess maybe that's more my shtick. I also just have a lot of social anxiety, so.
Me too. So we both went to the same college, and we actually both had the same degree for not very long. I changed it only a little bit. You changed it a lot, but still within the same area of what you wanted. Kind of more of us figuring out, like, oh, I thought my degree had this, but it doesn't have what I want. So I'm going to alter it a bit to where it has what I want, and less of a major career change. More of figuring out which one was the right one.
Well, I think everybody, that's the statistic at least. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know the statistic is, at least everybody changes their major once. Don't know if that's accurate or if it's more or anything like that, but what I heard before actually going to school was that everybody changes their major. So, how did you change your major?
GCU offers digital film with an emphasis in production, and then digital film with an emphasis in screenwriting. We were both screenwriting for a bit. I went and had my in-person classes for the first semester, and one of my basic major teachers told me that screenwriting is great, but it's all writing classes, and the production literally is everything. I mean, it's audio, cinematography, writing, directing, producing, like literally a little bit of everything, so I'd probably get more out of that. I was like, you're right. So I changed my emphasis, not really the degree path itself, because I didn't have to retake any classes, but I changed the emphasis, but you changed the whole title.
Yeah, I technically changed like an entire college. In high school I was always like the English kid. I am horrible at math, fun fact. If you ever ask me to do simple math, I'll probably get it wrong. So I was really good at English classes, and so when I went to GCU, I decided I was going to do screenwriting because I had spent the previous 2 years like really, really into theater and movies and TV shows, and we'd done a couple short films at that point. So that's what I wanted to do, and I did it for an entire year. It was my first year online, my freshman year. And then I decided it wasn't lucrative, which by that I mean like there's not a lot of job opportunities unless you're super, super lucky in the film world, and you're brave for, continuing on with that because it makes me nervous. So I switched to professional writing for new media, which was in the College of like Humanities and Social Sciences, I think. And essentially what it means is that I've taken classes in grant writing, advertising, marketing. I have taken creative writing classes. I've taken history classes that have to do with writing. Pretty much jack of all trades as far as writing goes. I'm technically trained to do all of it. That does not mean I get a job in any of it. But I'm that's all it really is I can do any sort of writing that there is, which was supposed to be a way for more job security. Has it become that? No, not necessarily, but my window is wider. So.
Yeah, I definitely added on that just out of safety. I mean, I was specifically digital film production, which does a lot, but, a lot of people look at just those words on your degree, so I added marketing just to, have it. That was pretty general, kind of like doubling as a business major, just having it looks nice, and having a minor isn't too hard to add on, honestly. It's only like, what, 6 classes?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I've realized that people scare you a lot for college. Getting out of school or not doing school at all, like just whenever you're done with school, is scarier in my personal opinion, because you are very much like you've reached the end of the road where you can kind of pick wherever you want to go. Literally, there's no paths. It's just wide open meadow, and it's kind of like, I literally have no idea where to go.
Yeah, it's like walking into a forest without a compass. Which direction do you go? And for what reason at that? I think that's kind of the thing, is to shall we say, like, overemphasize the importance and the drama of moving into a new phase of life. So when we moved into our dorm, which was a weird situation in and of itself, I was super nervous, and it didn't turn out to be as bad as I thought it would be. So,
yeah, high school teachers, I think that's a universal joke, at least I see on social media, where high school teachers try to scare you into thinking that college will be really hard, you need to toughen up, or the professors are going to be super, super hard on you, and then you see videos of professors just going, do you guys want a final? Great, okay, we won't have one. Which is very true. College professors can almost do whatever they want as long as they follow the curriculum, which is wild, but also it's just, you're a half adult in college. Yeah, you're still doing school, but you're responsible for yourself.
And everything seems harder until you're actually doing it, and then it doesn't seem as hard anymore.
Yeah, no. I loved college. Compared to high school, I loved college.
Right.
Maybe it's just like a freedom thing, or discovering yourself, but also school isn't for everybody. I totally respect that. I mean, for most, you don't even need to go to school for arts. I just really, really wanted to. I just wanted the opportunity to have experience like that. But they definitely scare you way too much. I think I was terrified. I was thinking that college was going to be like super, super scary and hard and fast paced, which it can be. But
Yeah.
I think my sister said, it's not school that's hard and terrifying. It's being responsible for yourself that's hard. Because a lot of people have trouble with that. I mean, if you're not doing your own laundry once you get to college, then I'd be a little concerned. But, just waking yourself up in the morning, going to class, going to get a job, or
washing the dishes
without anybody kind of like reminding you, or like having a presence of parents or guardians telling you what to do. But
essentially being self-sufficient.
Yeah, because a lot of people get to college and they're like, wow, nobody's here telling me what to do or watching over me. I can do whatever I want. So that's kind of where you discover where your personal freedom and limits are at, honestly. But yeah. I genuinely like school. I think high school is not for everybody, genuinely. But college, you get the choice to kind of pick your field, which is nice. So that I feel like that's a better education area where you can you're figure out if you can thrive or not, rather than high school.
Right, you're not focusing on subjects or topics that you're not really interested in, which probably makes all the difference in that case.
I will say something scary about going into adulthood, at least for me, is that whenever I started college, I was like, okay, I have this one specific thing in mind. This is the degree I need. Let's go. And after a couple months pass by, and then a semester, and then a year, and as it slowly goes on, my options keep widening, because I slowly start to go like, oh, well, this is cool too. Oh, well, actually, I'd be happy doing this. Or, honestly, if I just do something in video advertising and really like the people I'm working with, then I'd be happy. I don't have to be in LA. I don't have to be in New York. I'd be okay with being anywhere. Like, it slowly just started becoming okay with everything, and therefore not knowing at all what I really, really want. Yeah, being in Hollywood would be sick, but like, those jobs are hard. Mm-hmm. And as you get older, you start to realize what adults mean whenever they're like, you kind of just gotta find something sustaining, or you gotta take what you're given.
Right.
Especially in this field, at least for my field. With my field, it's very much like, especially with my classmates, it's like, you gotta take what you can get. Like, if you'll just offer me something film-wise, then just give it to me. It's less of like, well, what do you really want to do? It's like, what are you offering to give me? I'll take it.
I think at the stage that you're at, it's more about building a repertoire than anything else. And then once you have a sustainable portfolio, then you can do what you want. But the road is building that portfolio, which I guess takes a long time.
And on that note, the job market has definitely been not the greatest lately, I feel like, or at least in the past couple of years. I know definitely for you've been on the job market for like a long while.
Right. So I've been applying for jobs, applying to different things for about 1.5 years now. I think it's a little less than a 1.5 years. It'll be 1.5 years at the end of December. Anyway, long story short, been applying to jobs for over 1 year at this point. When I first started applying, I was specifically trying to apply for editorial jobs. That didn't necessarily mean just publishing, but ideally I would love to be a fiction editor. And so I was applying to a lot of publishing things, but publishing is a very competitive market, so it's hard to get into. So everything I applied to, I wasn't even getting responses for. And since then, I've taken on applications to different, like magazine editorial, some of it's like journalist stuff. Right now the focus is like marketing, so social media. Not that that's really going anywhere either, but the focus has definitely changed. At this point, I'm just looking to kind of get some sort of experience, even if that's a part-time job and I have to continue working more than one job like I have been for 3 years already. So it's been very touch and go. we were talking about this earlier, I have probably sent out somewhere between like 50 and 75 applications. And I don't really get much back on them. So it's it's kind of hard, but still trying to, figure out where I can go, who wants to take the chance and give me experience. So,
Yeah, whatever happened to common courtesy emails? I mean,
I don't know.
I know it's just part-time, but what, I'll send an application to 20 places, and then 2 months later I'll be like, okay, I'm guessing that's a no.
You never replied, so I'm gonna take it as a no.
Yeah, I definitely do resend it sometimes. Like, if it's been like 2 or 3 weeks, I like to think like, oh, maybe they just didn't see it or it went to a junk folder, so I'll like just resend it just in case. I know for a while after a week of applying, I'll see if they have a phone number I can call. I'll call it up, because I know my dad really drilled into me the saying, put a face to name, because yeah, they may like that, but also it's just helpful whenever you got like a list of names. But like, if somebody happens to just meet you in person, or they call you up and are like, hey, I just wanted to check up with my application, or I'm in the neighborhood, thought I'd stop by, and you put a face to name, or whatever.
And actually my parents were talking about that literally last night. What was he saying? I think my dad was like, bother them. Like, just bother them. And my mom was like, back in the day, because she used to have applications, sitting in a pile on a desk or whatever. And she was like, if somebody would call me and just bug me, then I'd be like, well, fine, I'll just give you an application and an interview for the application, and you might get a job because of that. That's what she was saying, and I thought it was kind of funny. It was like, do the same thing, email, call, but from their perspective, it's just like, the more you poke, the more likely you are to talk to somebody, which I guess in extreme cases would work.
Yeah, as long as you're like professional and courteous about it. I mean,
Right.
like, they're not going to be unhappy with somebody who's super eccentric
Right.
and excited to want to work for them, that they'll do anything, because that's what they want. They want you to want it really bad. They want you to want to work there.
You could send 50 professional emails and they're still professional. I mean, I'm sure there's a line. Surely there's a line somewhere. But you could send them and they could all be professional.
Yeah.
And they can just, like, block your email if it's that big of a deal.
But then, or maybe they'll finally reply and say, sorry, we're not considering you. And it's like, great, thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, like, thank you for telling me.
After 10 emails.
I had an application the other day. I sent the application, and about a week later I got an email and they were like, thank you for your application. Unfortunately, we're not considering it at this time because you don't have the experience that we want, or something along those lines. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I was like, oh, I appreciate the feedback. Like, I appreciate that you're telling me that it's on these grounds that we're saying no. You don't have the experience. You don't have the skills. You don't look the way we want you to. Something. Feedback is nice. I like feedback.
Even if they can't really say, as long as they say, we're not going to consider you, or moving in a different direction, at least that's nice. I mean, with part-time, I get it. I really hope that, a big company doesn't do that to me full-time, when I maybe have rent or have children to feed or something, which, total joke, but, obviously, you want a little heads up. But just letting you know, if I really, really want to work for you, I'm gonna wave my hand as high as I can in the back of the class.
Definitely gonna notice her. She's gonna be waving like a madman. Please pay attention to me.
It's okay. It's nice to at least have some confidence that, with other jobs previously, I think, because we graduated last year, and right after graduation I did the Disney College program, which was awesome. And of course that's a massive company with like protocols and like things set up. So whenever you apply, you get like a phone call a week or so later, exactly like 10 to 15 minutes. Like, they give everybody the same kind of courtesy, which makes sense with a program in a company that massive. But yeah, obviously after you get that cute little email saying you've got the job or you've been accepted, it gives you that confidence boost. So but we're 23 now, so we've worked at least a couple of part-time jobs, whether that's, just customer service or food service. I don't think neither of us have worked in merchandise before, have we? Or retail?
Yeah, I was a bridal stylist for
That's
6 months.
right.
Yeah, I was a bridal stylist for 6 months. I've had a really weird range of jobs, actually. Well, I guess that's not technically true. I worked at a coffee shop, little mom and pop coffee shop. It was cute. I worked there until they were unfortunately shut down. And then I worked at a bridal store as a bridal stylist. I work at a church. I nanny. I am a barista again, and I have been for 2 years now. So I've had a really weird amalgamation of jobs. I've also had 3 jobs for almost as many years. So I've been the 3-job wonder for quite a while. So
You got at least some.
yeah,
Something to
worked in
put
a
on
lot
the
of
resume.
different, like, facets. I've done childcare. I've done food service. I've done childcare, food service. Oh, retail. That's what retail. I've done retail. And then I was a baker as well. I was a baker. I managed the social media for a little bit for one of the coffee shops that I worked at. Almost worked at a grocery store in our dorm.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
That one was an odd experience. I feel like we should talk about that because
It was so weird.
we both had different counselors, and
Oh.
we noticed something very odd. Whenever we both sent an email asking them the same question, mine would say one thing, and then yours would say something completely
Oh my gosh.
different. So
That's right.
we didn't get these jobs. I transitioned to a different one, and then you went home after 4
Yeah.
months. But we were both looking at a job on campus, and I think we were trying to figure out, like, how to do that, or how you'd go about that for, like, a job on campus, or where you'd go, kind of that thing. And I emailed my counselor because I was like, I don't know, do they like it when college kids come in asking if they can have a job? Because it's on campus. And I'm thinking, like, well, no, duh, like, that's
how you get a job.
That's how you get a job.
Like,
they want you to come in and ask, or just be present, or be, like I said earlier, put a face to name. Like, there's no harm in that. That's very much encouraged to go in person.
50 years ago, that's how everybody was applying. Like, maybe you'd put a call into a store. But for the most part, you're walking around, you're asking somebody in person, you're handing them a literal, physical paper application. And that's what we were dealing with.
Initiative is what they really like. So I remember I just double checked. I emailed my counselor. I was like, is it okay if I, like, go here and ask in person about my application or whatever? And he said what I expected him to say, was like, yeah, no, definitely go in person. Like, we encourage that. Like, that's how you get a job. And then your counselor said, no, don't do that, or I highly advise against it. And I'm like, what?
I don't know what the specifics of this conversation were, but I remember that semester specifically. Bro, my counselor was... I'm gonna be kind here. There was something going on. I don't know if she was distracted, if she didn't know what she was doing, if she was new. I don't know. But she continued to be an issue. But anyway, I sent an email about it because we both sent them at basically the same time. You have to understand, we were basically joined at the hip for like 6 months. We did everything together. We did the same things all the time. Well, I didn't eat dry ramen, but...
Okay. Ramen is a college thing. We all know that.
If you'd like to explain that story before I keep going, you're welcome to.
We'll get to that at some point. I'm sure you'll bring that back up.
I'm sure I will. Okay, so I sent an email at the same time that she did. Her counselor responded within a day or two, right?
Yeah.
Mine didn't respond for several more days. And when she did, she was like, no, you can't do that. She's like, you have to apply online. You cannot go in person. And so I don't remember if you went and I didn't or something like that, and I applied on, like, like Workday or whatever. Anyway, it was a very weird experience. I had a very bad counselor, and she didn't know what was going on. And you had a really great counselor who was like, your friend's counselor sounds crazy.
Yeah, no, I think yours had so much, like, misinformation, or just really, like, replies that were just, like, not helpful whatsoever. So I remember, I think I mentioned it to my counselor. I was like, hey, is there any, like, how do you switch counselors? Like, it's just not great for my roommate. Like, I was kind of
Right.
asking him, but, I had a great counselor, the same one, whole time. I never requested a new one. We love him.
I had to request a new one twice.
I do remember that. You
Yeah.
requested a new one twice. You had to email, like, the head of, like, the counselor department at the college
yeah.
university, which I feel like most students do.
Because I had that one, the one that was like, no, you cannot apply in person. And then I had another one. And a year later, there was like a tuition discrepancy or something. Like what he did, I know what happened. He authorized a double payment. So like I was paying for, whatever it was, it might have been like a class or something like that. I think it was like the payment for a class. And the payment went through twice. And I had to call him and be like, bro, like this is not okay.
My money.
And it was a whole deal. He was not helpful. It was horrible. I remember I was with my grandparents. I was out of town. I was with my grandparents. I was in the car with my grandmother, and I'm on the phone with this guy. And I'm not a Karen, but like, I will get upset. And I try to be as respectful as possible. But like, if you are not helping, then I will get stern. And so I remember talking to this guy, and I was like, listen, you need to fix this. This is a problem. This is not okay. And this is the second bad counselor I've had. So at that point, I was clearly done. It was wild and crazy.
When it comes to money, you're like, counselor. Hey, that's my money.
It was a lot of money too. And it wasn't my money. It was my grandparents' money. Like, that is a big deal. So like, crazy that I went through two bad ones.
We were also very, very lucky. We had, parents and grandparents pay for college, so we were very lucky for that. But also that meant that we wanted to be responsible with it and keep an eye on it. I didn't end up getting that job, but I remember I got a job as a barista on campus, and you think of like the general things. You send an email, you do maybe a follow-up call a week later, or you go in person, or like you poke just to see, because it's like, hey, really want this job. But one of the things that I always thought was pretty common that everybody knew was like you kind of dress up a little business casual, or even just fix your hair a little bit and you look professional for an interview, even if it's something like food service. So I get all dolled up in my little business casual dress and like makeup and everything, because I'm like, I really want this job. And I walk in, and the girl that leaves right before me is in sweatpants, sweatshirt with her backpack. And I'm like, this might be a little easier than I thought.
Well, here's the question. Did she get the job?
No.
Oh, see, that'll do it. My brother left the house the other day for an interview, and he was wearing jeans, a t-shirt, and an unbuttoned flannel for an interview. And I was like, is that what you're wearing? He said, yep. I said, all right. That was that. He got the job, though. So clearly, the professional thing doesn't always matter.
Yeah.
Although I guess it does depend on the job you're applying for.
It always depends, but like it never hurts to show professionalism or an initiative to like even the littlest things, because like, yeah, I put on a little bit of makeup and I fixed my hair a little bit. That shows like, oh, you really cared or put some thought into being here today for your interview. It's the little things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if you're super confident in your abilities, I mean, never hurts to check off those things. I mean, I feel bad for that girl. Now, I'm sure her interview was probably great. It's just the second I came in right after her, I probably didn't make her look very good.
You probably showed her up.
Yeah, didn't mean to. I just really wanted that job, because I think I'd been at college for about like a semester and I still hadn't had a job yet, and I wanted to.
Yeah. Didn't you get GCBC like right after I left?
Yeah, so like January of 2022. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, that'd be right.
I really love that job. I made so many friends. It's like, it was food service, and it wasn't Starbucks, but like it was the only coffee shop on campus, so like we were busy a lot.
Yeah.
But like it was like a very high energy environment or rushed environment sometimes, but I made a lot of friends. I love that job. I miss it. I'll have little Snapchat memories pop up from a year ago. So sad. I miss school a lot. That's the other thing. If you're in a school environment and then you graduate and leave, you kind of are like, wow, I was surrounded by people, and even if it was just class, like you were kind of in a very high energy environment all the time. And then when you're an
Right.
adult, it is a little bit lonelier.
Yeah, which is crazy. I don't think I expected that, actually. Like, I
Yeah.
think, well, and I mean, I did online school, so my situation was a little different. But, like, as an adult, who now I just work and I just go home, I'm like, this is a little lonely. Like, it's a little different than I thought it would be. And that's not to say that, like, I don't have friends and I don't hang out with my friends. But like my friends are also adults. They also have a life and a job and things that are going on. And as a single woman, what do I do other than go home to my cat, you know? So I work and then I go home and I work and I go home, and that's pretty much all it is. Well, I guess we film a podcast now, but
You know, we're trying to do a bit more, but
I think we were bored. I think that's really what
we were a little bored. I had done a podcast before, and honestly, I mean, even if nobody listens, it's very healthy and very stimulating to just talk like this.
Yeah, the
But,
one time I did it, I thought it was cool too.
It's definitely fun. It's kind of like whenever you need to rant in your car in your house by yourself, and you kind of go on this. You sound smart for like a good minute or two, and you're
Yeah.
like, man, I should start a podcast.
Well, and honestly, I don't even know that it's ranting. I think it's just talking.
Yeah,
Like, it's just like
getting all the words
voicing
out.
things.
Yeah,
So if you're a talkative person, start a podcast.
exactly. You can make that. If you really love it, you can make audio your job. I took one audio class. Don't worry, guys. I got this. But, you know, I definitely loved being a barista. You did too. Like coffee. Like, we both like drinking coffee
Yeah.
and matcha, as you can see. So, like, being a barista is fun.
Sometimes.
But definitely not, like, end game for us with our jobs and our degrees. That being said, if, you know, job market, heck, money isn't even an issue. What do you think, like, your like top number one dream job would be if you could literally do anything, move anywhere, like anything?
Well, if I have to have like a job, I have to have a job. I would love to be a fiction editor. Kind of mentioned that earlier. Love to be a fiction editor. Super into writing, super into books, things like that. I would love to be the kind of person who just helps with manuscripts and things like that, and you know, blurbs, cover art, everything like that. But in reality, the thing that I've always told everybody is that I really just want to be a novelist and a mom. There's been talk here and there of a bookstore, but that's kind of far-fetched. So those are my ideas, nothing really set in stone. I'm also a photographer. I like to take photos, so I could totally see doing something like that. But being a novelist and a mom's probably top on the list. What about you?
Like I said, it's kind of opened up to whatever. Everything sounds nice, but if we're talking like, you know, what I dream about, I mean, probably not LA. I know LA is like the big place for film people, and I know New York is like actually, I think comparatively more expensive, but
Oh yeah,
New York is very aesthetic, obviously. I can still say that it's
especially
23.
in the fall.
Oh, in the fall. Oh my gosh. But you know, either one of those places, honestly, if I find a good place to live. I'm a big window girly. I like having like a good little height on my apartment, little city view, or even just little park view, all that stuff.
Let's move to London.
I know we've talked about that, moving to London. London would be super cool. Living there, I wouldn't hate, but like, you know, staying in the US would also be sick, because, you know, close to your family, and let's just pretend that I've made a lot of movies or projects or whatever to where I have a pretty good name for myself, so I kind of see it as like an adult version of college would be my dream, where I'm either at home, writing, and coming up with really cool ideas, and the next day waking up at 4 a.m. and driving to an abandoned hospital to film a horror movie with my friends, like getting calls from coworkers and friends who are like, hey, I'm gonna go film this fantasy thing in Ireland. Do you want to help produce it? It's like, yeah, absolutely. Like, it's just, that's definitely a dream for me. Maybe being married, but that's way too far-fetched.
You know what we've talked about, though, is we've talked about making a movie or a series of our own, partnering up. Don't know if it would ever happen, but it'd be fun.
You can tell by my silence in my face I totally forgot that conversation.
She does that. That's not out of the norm. That happens quite often. Anyway, it is a thought we've thrown around, regardless of what, just ignore her.
Yay.
We've talked about it before. I'm actually writing a book, and Rose is playing around with a script.
That's right.
Yes. And she's a lot better at the irony in this is that I used to be a screenwriting major, but she's better at scripts than I am, by a long shot. And I'm better at like prose, I would say. Like I can do like lots and lots of paragraphs of like descriptions and things like that. You're good with witty lines. I also get stuck a lot. I'm my own worst enemy. I am like super creative and I have a lot of good ideas, but like I get stuck in the idea. Rose gets me out of it.
Really?
Yeah, we'd be a good partnership in that way. Maybe one day we'll make a show and you can watch it.
Once I learn how to write episodic, then yes.
Okay, a movie. Or maybe we'll write a book. We'll partner up and we'll write a book.
We'll do all
that'll
of it.
Become a movie.
Yeah. We'll start with the book, we'll adapt it into a movie, and then we'll do a spin-off TV series, and then if it really goes well, then we can start a musical.
Okay.
Isn't that what everybody's doing?
We don't need to reboot anything. I've had enough of reboots. Please no more.
You know, 10 years later, when our stuff is super popular, they'll reboot it. And if it was animated, they'll make it live action.
Oh my gosh.
With some CGI in there and call it live action.
And call it live action when it's actually not. Listen, sore subject. I don't want to think about Harry Potter right now, okay?
We'll definitely get into our passionate media and art topics in later podcasts episodes, but this one was definitely more of our intro and kind of reaching out to fellow baby adults out there who are struggling with the job market or finding themselves, but you know, who really finds themselves ever? Yeah. I mean, you could hit 40 and still not have found yourself or your passion. What is it? You read those things about like those popular fashion designers who didn't like, you know, sew their first dress until like 40, and like it'll inspire you. They're like, oh yeah, like I mean, I may not be able to find it right now. I might find what I love a lot later, but it's about the journey.
It's about the journey.
I'm more of a corny line person rather than, I wouldn't say witty. I was gonna say corny, but I'm glad I'll take witty. Thank you so much.
I think witty fits.
Yeah. Should read my Film Freeway bio. That's corny.
You know, we've got some old short films out there. And let me tell you, there are some witty lines in them. And you want to know who wrote them?
Yeah. You know, we didn't say that. You know, and in high school, I'm very lucky to have found what I liked at such a young age, I like to say. But in high school, I did little short film competitions my junior and senior year. And it was literally just us two because you had a camera, I didn't. And I wrote it and directed it. And, please do not look them up. They're you have to remember they're little high school Maggie Rose short films, but that was just the two of us.
I think they're so good. Listen. They're cringy. I won't deny that. And like not perfect by any means. But like they're cute. They're super cute. I like them. And I think we did a really good job. I'm proud of them. Although they're cringy. Maybe I shouldn't look them up. Never mind.
It's hard to make films that don't like cringe a little bit or have a weird lull. It's definitely hard, especially in college. But also, I think I considered myself the kind of writer. I describe my writing for at least super short films as like Super Bowl ads on steroids. Not meaning they're good, just meaning there's more like, I guess, story to it. But like I wanted to make you emotional.
I think there's this stigma on short films or shorter, style amateur movies that says that like they're cringy because they're not blockbusters. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think there's a lot of great short films out there. Yeah. So we should take pride in them.
It's also hard when you don't have access to the equipment or the money. I mean, for students, it looks a lot better on paper than when you're trying to make it, but you will do your hardest to make it.
Very true.
Make it good. So I will say that I am very proud of college stuff. I will say that college stuff, even though it was still hard, and still tricky. You're surrounded by people who are also trying really hard to make it look good, so I will say that. We are respectful with our stories on here. Not to say that we have anything bad to say, just, being respectful. But if I have a chance to brag about my college friends, I will. So, just letting you know. I think I was very lucky and I made some, super talented friends. But yeah. Which is also part of being an adult, is being confident in yourself and your abilities.
I'm gonna leave now.
I didn't say we're good at it, I said it's part of it.
Okay, well, I don't know that part of it.
We're figuring out that part of it.
Trying to. On that note, making movies, writing stories, who or what inspired you to do it?
Oh. Said that so dramatically. There's definitely a lot, whether it just be, one film, one line, an actor, a director. But I will say one major one, and it's gonna sound corny, and I will bring it up multiple times, is the one that's definitely stuck over the years. I know you have childhood movies that you always remember, but this one's definitely stuck to where it's become a major thing in my life. Past childhood is probably the How to Train Your Dragon movies, so specifically Dean DeBois. He's definitely a major one in my life, and those movies especially. I think the second one's in my top 4 on Letterboxd, to be specific. But yeah, he's definitely a big one. Obviously, there's a lot of movies that have inspired me, but he's definitely one that's been the same all around, or always comes up in thought, or I always try to sneak him in every film paper that I can. But yeah, I think I have a guess as to what yours is, but would you like to answer the question as well?
Sure. So wow, I'm clearly a one-trick pony. I grew up watching and reading Harry Potter. It's a very large part of my life, not in an obnoxious way. But I would definitely say that it's an inspiration for me in a lot of different ways. I love the story a lot. It really spoke to me as a kid, and it continues to speak to me as an adult. I also really just love the way that the books are written, the way that the world is built. And I take a lot of inspiration from that kind of storytelling. A weird little tidbit too is I love the scores from the movie. And while they're simply music and I only remedially know how to play the piano, I don't know how to quite describe it other than there's some sort of magic in those movie scores that encourages me to be creative. Specifically the scores from the last 2 movies, the last 3 movies actually, are they're so magical, but all of them are so great. So pretty much Harry Potter in any capacity is the answer to that. I like lots of other things, but that's probably the biggest one. So
there's probably a lot more. We can definitely dive into that list in our more media related episodes. But scores. Oh my god. I know how people say the How to Train Your Dragon score is iconic. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. It's a deep one for me. I should not be playing Test Drive while I'm actually driving, so I'm a hazard.
That one is so epic.
It's so epic, yeah. I definitely agree. I mean, I wish I could. I'm a filmmaker, and I wish I knew how to make music. Music. Golly, that can just rock you to your core. I
really can.
I think music can make or break a story or a film. Do we have a music episode planned yet?
No, we don't. We should totally plan a music episode.
Definitely do that. We're gonna get into a lot of stuff in these episodes. We could talk about this all day long. I know you could talk about Harry Potter all day long. I could talk about How to Train Your Dragon all day long.
We could have a Harry Potter episode and a How to Train Your Dragon episode.
We really could, because we both can talk about those.
I hope you like those things, because you don't really have a choice.
If you don't like those things, then just skip over those episodes, I guess. But yeah, that we will definitely get into more specific kind of genre or topic related episodes. But this one was more kind of our little fun intro, little
We'll get to know us.
get to know us as little
who we
young
are, what we
adults coming out
like.
of art school and a cute little small town, you know. Everybody loves those stories. Small town breaking out into the big city.
Rags to riches, if you will.
Yeah. I'm editing this, so blame me if it sounds bad. But yeah, so we're also going to try and have a different kind of matcha every episode. I know if you're only listening, you can't see the matcha, but know that we are drinking it at our little coffee table right now.
Yes.
But
they're a little watered down at this point. Our cups have been putting off more condensation than I think there was matcha in the cups.
yeah, no, there's definitely more condensation than there is matcha right now.
I think it's ruining the cup holders actually, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. We like a good normal matcha.
We'll finish our water matcha.
Our watered down grass.
Yeah. And with that, goodbye.